Yo, what's up everyone? Today we'll be looking at The Internet is Finally Turning on Jidion. Man, so that EDP documentary. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. That didn't work. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I plan to actually here soon. It's just I didn't think it was gonna be so long. I mean, it's a documentary, I should have expected it. I just haven't had time. A lot of things are going on. But anyways, we're just going to get into this because I did see bro was getting a bunch of backlash from it. So I'd rather just jump into the situation and then see what it all means, because it seems like it's a bunch of back and forth right now. And yeah, we're just going to get into it. All right, let's get into it. Let's see what this is
EDP 445. You would think that he would, after one of the worst documentaries came out about YouTuber EDP 445.
One of the worst documentaries. I need to watch this because, okay, now realistically, in retrospect, I guess it would be one of the worst because it's the fact that we're giving this man EDP spotlight when he's a predator versus alien kind of situation. So yeah, we're just gonna see what's going on.
You would think that he would be who the internet is calling the villain. But the internet is turning their sights onto somebody else that was a part of catching EDP 445 and claiming he's actually the biggest villain of them all.
I feel like I was a victim of EDP, but I think I was mainly a victim. This is gonna sound crazy, but mainly a victim of Judion.
Wow. That's crazy. Okay. I know I'm missing context. This is why we watch Omeezy. Because I need context, and this is going to be a lot to kind of catch up on, for real. So, let's see. This is a crazy frame. So, let's see. I mean, to be fair, Jidion does do some stupid things sometimes. So, let's see where man, now I think about it, he be in situation after situation.
YouTuber Jidion claimed for years that he didn't know exactly the full story behind the whole EDP 445 situation. But he did claim that there was going to be a documentary that would come out that would reveal all and make his name look so much better.
I think the documentary the documentary is gonna tell all.
But now that the documentary is out,
interesting. The documentary is gonna tell all, and you just had somebody just come out and expose you. That's crazy. What was he a victim of? Because if this is about like when, who is it, Jidion and Skeeter did the EDP catch, I actually never got to look at that one. I have not looked at it. And I've been like, I guess I could just do a quick Google or a quick YouTube search and I could find it. But I was hoping to just go scrolling down his channel and find it, but I never did.
Are being made on his name. Even some of his biggest fans and supporters are starting to turn their back on Jidion.
I am a huge fan of Jidion's content. I watch almost every single one of his videos, but after watching the EDP 445 documentary and seeing all the details that was released on how he and Skeeter Jean botched the EDP 445 situation that they had, and the way that he treated the victim, Kayla Hoskins, it really is starting to make—
Oh, so wait. So it was an actual victim. They didn't do no decoy? No. I refuse to believe Jidion actually didn't use a decoy.
Question if Jidion is really a good person.
And even though Jidion has come out making a video with receipts proving that everything that Kayla said wasn't 100% factual and that she's actually targeting him, there are still fans that are coming for his head because they're not really
I probably should have looked at bro's video then.
Questioning Jidion's involvement in the content of it all when it comes to the EDP 445 catch. They're asking themselves, has Jidion really changed and banned his old ways as a content creator for the better of him in society? If you're new to this and you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It's gonna go a long way. We're like really close to 185. I think we actually might get it today with this upload. You gotta be a part of that group that does hit that subscribe button. Now, back into the video. Look, I and other YouTubers have discussed the disgusting nature of the documentary that came out covering EDP 4.
This is crazy. Like, we actually gotta talk. This is crazy because you gotta remember, this is a literal, like, predator, like Fred that we're talking about. He has his own documentary. This shouldn't realistically have happened. Like, after looking at that trailer for it, bro, this shouldn't have happened. Like it
Or
actually
five.
is giving him a like crazy amount of spotlight.
Necessarily because of how EDP 445's actions were, albeit we can all agree that those were disgusting in and of itself, but the nature as to how they went about doing the documentary and the things that we discovered behind closed doors that got them to even catching EDP 445. And this is where Jidion enters the situation. Jidion was a part of one of the first catches, or at least attempts to catch EDP.
What do you mean first? Was it okay? No, he was the second one, right? There wasn't another one I'm thinking about, is there? Am I tripping?
P445.
No, okay, I remember this happening, and then he didn't get arrested again. But I didn't think that there was another one. I don't think there was another one. I think there was just a bunch of videos about
in
him
the act of
afterwards.
texting underage people, but how he did it was very, and I do mean very, questionable based off of this documentary.
I think I was mainly a victim of Judion. I
Okay,
feel like
let me
I was
hear
his
this.
puppet because I was just like kind of doing the things he demanded me to do. He encouraged me to keep talking to him.
This is Kayla.
That can't be true. I refuse to believe that that's true. If it is true, I'm completely wrong. But there's no way Jidion actually was like, he was that content brained where he needed an actual I'm trying to think of a unique term I can use. I don't know, but basically, there's no way he used an actual person on the main with the age of on a clock to actually talk to EDP.
The 15-year-old decoy, who was actually a 15-year-old in real life, that was used in order to catch EDP 445 in an investigation about texting.
I was wrong. My bad. No. I'm not. No. I'm actually sticking to my word.
A minor. Now, what most people don't know is you can't do that. You can't use somebody that's actually a 15-year-old, somebody who's actually underage, in order to try to get them, the person that is being involved in this underage act, caught up. You have to use a decoy. Like, that's a pretty common thing in this situation. People started questioning the morals and ethics of the different things that Jidion and Skeeter Jean would do in order to set up EDP 445 before they decided to roll up on him. The documentary raises tons of questions about how Kayla, her mother, the evidence, and the police were all handled by the dynamic YouTube content creation duo, all for the sake of content. Hell, even Skeeter Jean himself even says that they prioritize the content.
No, don't tell me that. Don't tell me they were that content brained.
Of it all, which would ultimately lead to a non-arrest of EDP 445.
I think there possibly maybe could have been different results in this case if me and Jidion did not confront EDP or take the situation into our hands at all.
That's not what you want to hear. Well, then again, I guess if they could have just called the police, he maybe.
You know, that way, obviously, there's no content there, so it's like, eh.
And so while people were watching a documentary about a disgusting human being, they started to lay down the evidence, lay down the decision making, lay down what brought these two to this point about how they would go about making this content. And it seems as though they found another villain in Jidion in a movie that was supposed to be about a villain, EDP 445. The strangest part about all of this is that it is not just people who consume this documentary that know nothing about Jidion.
Okay. I just had to figure out a whole DoorDash order because they talking about some allergies and stuff, and I didn't feel like going through that, and I just canceled my whole entire order and just got pizza, bro. Whatever. We're about to get into it. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. Let's just get back into it, bro.
Doubt in these different situations, yet they are wanting to have questions be answered about the decision making and the choices that were made about this whole investigation that him and Skeeter Jean had. What really made me want to look into this story is because Jidion actually does come out and respond to all of the allegations that happened, but even in that response, you have a certain subsection of people who are still looking at him as if he is crazy. This tweet from a Twitter user says, one of these children was predictably groomed by EDP, and Jidion, instead of properly stepping in, used her as a decoy. Huge crime to use minors as decoys. So he could dress up in a cupcake costume with Skeeter Jean outside of EDP's dialysis center. Another Twitter user says, I honestly don't know what Jidion
I invited a known predator to a Discord server full of minors to see what would happen. Yeah, that's a bad title.
thought he was doing
That's
when he released
actually,
his
like,
response.
that's
Hilariously
actually-
bad.
that's
Judion's
actually-
week keeps
there's
getting
no way
worse.
that's actually
And
a
albeit
pedophile.
they
There's
do
probably
have
nothing
some
wrong.
credibility there, I don't think that titling a video, I invited a known pred to a Discord server full of minors to see what would happen, is probably the way that you would go about a response video. But hey, you got to get the clicks and the views, right? That's what Skeeter said.
I mean,
Where's the content in that? So what exactly does his response say? For what it's worth, Jidion does clear things up, but he doesn't address the bigger question that's being asked in the conversation that is new about Jidion. And what has been a he said, she said so far, Jidion.
Okay, so it sounds like he actually basically, it sounds like in this case he counteracted the allegations, is what I'm hearing from this. But it sounds like because Jidion's Jidion, he probably didn't. I guess there's still a thing that's missing that's not going to make people happy.
Jidion drops a response video titled "My Side of the EDP Doc," in which he provides receipts, Discord messages, iMessages, police documents, and a bunch of different evidence that does help clear his side. He addresses a lot of the serious, and I do mean serious, allegations and narratives that Kayla, the 15-year-old decoy, has placed on him as to his involvement in the whole EDP capturing situation. He starts it off by clarifying the fact that he did not find a 15-year-old and place that person in front of EDP, which I think is actually very good that he did, because a lot of people are running with that narrative.
The reason why I gladly took the blame for EDP meeting her through my Discord, because at the time, I truly believed that's how he found her, and I wanted to take accountability for my role in this occurring. But as it turns out, Kayla herself in the documentary stated that she had already been messaging EDP before I had even ever added him in my own Discord.
He also clears up the conversation about how the communication went down, and more importantly, who played a role in continuing it and how they did that.
Now, fast forward to when I found out about this whole situation. When I first got on the call with her, I let her know I didn't feel comfortable with her talking with her being
Okay. There we go. He said it. He said it. So
your age. So I came up with some clever ideas to where we could switch off and I could take over communication and she wouldn't have to. Here's one of those
maybe, he should have just called the police.
examples that I gave her. Maybe we could say something like, my parents switched providers and I couldn't get my number, so this is my new one. And then it'd be a number that we could text through. And granted, in that call, she did agree that that was a good idea, but she never gave over the communication to me nor Skeeter.
Now the thing.
So sounds like she low-key put herself as the victim. Now, I know that sounds bad to say, but to be fair, he did literally in video proof just say, yeah, no, that's not a good idea. We're going to switch over, and you didn't get it.
That I would say to Jidion, and this is speaking to his past self, which in later videos he's claimed that he understood and would not do this going forward, is that at that moment, granted, EDP is talking to a 15-year-old, but you have to figure out a way to wipe your hands clean with this situation. Clearly, this.
Yeah, so in this case, definitely calling the cops and getting the cops actually involved, especially like beforehand or anything, was definitely going to be the better route to take. This is Jidion, so it messes it up. And I can see, trying to get your content and everything. I see where he made the flip. So at least he didn't have her actually like involved though, right?
A 15-year-old who has some sort of fandom towards you, a fandom towards the community, all these different things. And how they're going about this is ultimately not going to be beneficial for you. So sure, you got the clicks and views in it of it all. EDP was exposed to a YouTube audience, but the moral and ethical questions come into play. And to be honest with you, rightfully so in some regards, but I just would have moved away from her totally and then set up a separate sting option for EDP 445 in a way that was done properly, as opposed to continue to play around or use a 15.
I say this is a less experienced Jidion too. I think today Jidion is way different. Well, legality wise, when it comes to actually getting a pred call than this one in this instance. So
15-year-old that is not cooperating with you. Otherwise, we end up in a situation where we're ending up in where there's no actual legal action, and now she is, again, I don't think this is right, calling you out for what you've done. The last two big takeaways from this to me was that Jidion disputes any sort of non-involvement with police. He says that he wanted to get the police involved, tried to get the police involved, got the police involved to some extent, but it just didn't go the way that he thought it would go.
Kayla gave me case numbers and detective numbers to call. I called the detective number and it was disconnected. And it took me like till 3 years later to finally find out what police station she went to and everything. And she really doesn't have all the updates and everything, but luckily, since I deal with police so much, kind of figured it out and figured out where to look. And I can confirm that there is a case number associated with the account, meaning that there wasn't a report made. And also, not only was there a report made, but I confirmed with the police station that this case is currently with the FBI. Now,
So we good. Okay, wait, hold on, because I did that last time. Then he said something a little bit fluky. So
even though it's with the FBI, I don't know if they're still actively investigating it, and I don't know if they'll do anything with all of this, me personally.
And that's where...
Now it's in a situation where he's totally out of the loop as to what's going on as opposed to being a part of the investigation. But arguably the most damning thing that he needed to clear up, he did when he went out and disputed the claim about him forcing Kayla to be the bait in the whole EDP sting operation. He actually breaks it down about it being her idea to...
See, I also, for this specific topic, I wanted to watch. I saw there was 2 people I could have watched with this, and it's Oweezy here and DH, and that DH man is straight Jidion hater. So I can't look at that one with it being a neutral stand. I just knew I couldn't do that.
Volunteer herself as tribute.
When I realized something was wrong, I spoke to a moderator in Judion's Discord server. I explained the situation, and soon everyone in the voice call started asking questions. Someone told Insight about what happened, and he ended up joining the voice call as well and asked me.
So this is I don't know if this is still documentary. No, what Jidion did. Well, oh, no, this is her own video. Hold on. So she made a video about this before.
If I wanted to be bait.
Do you guys remember that VC call that I had showed you guys earlier? That's the VC call that she's alluding to. And the people in the VC were coming up with ideas to get EDP to come out in person. And then Kayla decided to give herself up as tribute.
You can't do that. You can't do that. You're actually a victim from that point. You can't do that.
Lure him to a hotel,
Right.
yeah.
I
Listen,
mean,
Insight.
to be honest, I don't mind doing it, and I don't think my parents would mind.
Again,
L parents. L parents. Because I think they definitely would mind you potentially talking to a however-year-old pred.
15-year-old girl, I don't expect much. So now that Jidion has said his side with receipts.
That actually is crazy now that I think about it. Because hold on. You're telling me you was like, oh yeah, this is a smart idea. Like, what would you have done if he kidnapped you? What would you have done? It's not like you were gonna fight, bro. Like, there would have been nothing you could realistically do. There's not, you don't got what is in hand to require that. You're just actually meeting up with a bread. I just don't see the play.
And everything like that. It makes the situation look less black and white. Ultimately, it is a good thing that he had cleared his name of, especially like the decoy allegations and things like that. But a lot of the internet is still raising questions about his involvement.
I see what this is. So he cleared his name and people are just still going to hate farm it. I think I understand
the morals and ethics behind the whole sting operation and why he would do the things that he did. So you forced a teenage girl to keep interacting with a pred, potentially traumatizing her.
Cleared his name, by the way. People are just actually going to hate just to hate. And in a past life of when I was fueled by nothing but hate and love the art of hating, I would have probably been proud of this. But this is actually this is actually kind of stupid. I get holding him accountable for not calling the police, but saying that you involved Divine when that shouldn't have happened, or when he actively was trying to get them out of it and his community was trying to get her out of it.
Get your content.
It's kind of like misleading.
Dress up like a cupcake and go viral catching him. And the fat bag of is still free. Stupid. Jidion did this 2 years after Alex Rosen's sting and 3 months before.
If he's admitting to this in the documentary, why don't they just arrest him after recording? I guess you couldn't legally do that, but he's literally admitting to it.
his own sting operation on EDP. Jidion knew what he was doing at the time. This wasn't an accident. After that documentary, no one should even be trying to defend Jidion. Dude's a LARPer. And that's where the criticism becomes bigger than just Kayla. For what it's worth, pred catching is still content. You want the big reveal, you want the allegations, you want the dramatization, you want all of these viral moments. But what people have to understand is that's different than an investigation. And it's quite clear that based off of the actions, that's exactly what Jidion wanted. Less of an actual investigation, but more of a viral moment. Remember, Skeeter Jean even acknowledged that, there wasn't any content if we didn't get involved, even if we fumbled the bag. For what it's worth, I do think that Jidion...
I mean, I guess that is a way to look at it. I mean, it is content. That's what they do. They got it anyways it goes. But I mean, I just think it definitely should have been a arrest. I just think in the time that it was handled, if they would have done this as of like now and handled it as how they would now, I think he would.
Jidion wanted EDP to be caught. But I do think that Jidion decided that, hey, the content is going to come first. When you involve content in these serious matters, sometimes you throw away your morals and your ethics because there is a viral video, a clip, or a banger to follow. Now, normally people would chalk this up to this being years ago, but that's not the case this time either. Literally last month, Jidion admitted that sometimes that content can get in front of my decision-making and judgment calls.
Literally, he literally is just like, you know what? Let me not. He literally quit streaming doing the pred catches because
the end result is worse than it had to be.
What are you under arrest for? Disorderly person. You're out here yelling. Disorderly. You're under arrest for being disorderly.
Freedom. Skeeter's point of view from this actually, it just doesn't get old. This is one of those things. It just doesn't get old. It's just kind of funny though.
Bitch, you can yell on the sidewalk. Sitting here causing a scene. On the sidewalk. Yeah. Officer, how fast do you think this is gonna get dropped? Do you really think the charge is gonna Do you want to waste your DA's time? Call Jake and have him get my lawyer.
Now, I've already covered the situation where Jidion got arrested last month while dealing with Skeeter Jean's grandmother. And I won't go back into that. If you want to watch the video and
this thumbnail, bro, this is like, it's actually so stupid. Like, it's so horribly generated. But the thing is like, hey, we're gonna just
it'll all connect there. But ultimately, the story of the arrest isn't the biggest story in and of it all. It's his reaction to the aftermath
actually like get
of the whole situation that is actually very interesting.
I've done a lot of just like inward reflection, and I just kind of came to realize, what I was doing wrong, and also came to realize that truly your boy was spiraling. I was genuinely losing the plot. I had to pay 6+ figures for my lawyer fees. That money could have been used for the betterment of society, but now it's being used in the legal system. I've come to realize that, genuinely streaming makes me the worst me.
I think that's a very insightful revelation about Jidion.
I mean, that's development though. You can't hate him for development though. Cause I mean, hey, at least he recognized that while Extra Emily is moving up the food chain when it comes to Twitch. I'm just saying, cause like, you gotta be kidding me.
And how the impacts of streaming and streaming culture can make content creators push things to a different boundary. A conversation that I think a lot of streamers and content creators should be having to themselves. In that same conversation, Jidion talks about how seeing a chat say that a stream is boring or unentertaining can make him push things to a different level and go further than it needs to be. And I think that that's ultimately something that plagues a lot of streamers and content creators. Bear with me for a second. If you've ever noticed in any of the streamer clips or videos or moments that are going viral, you will see that they will do something, and then immediately after doing something outrageous or saying something outrageous, what is the first thing that they do? They go and they pick up
They look at that chat. Yeah.
Their phone. And they look at their phone for a second and they're quiet. The reason why they're quiet is because they are taking in how chat is reacting to said moment. And further down the line, if you notice, they'll do one of two things. They'll see a chat that's positive and say, hey, this is the lane that I should continue to go down. Or they'll see a chat that's negative and they'll try to switch up. And normally their switch up is, let me push a little bit further. That's exactly what Jidion is suffering from, and what I think he's been suffering from for a long time. If you look at Jidion's prankster career, he has made a living and a name for himself, pushing the boundaries over and over and over and over again. And after a situation that got pushed to the extreme limits of somebody that he...
The fact that you can just easily enter into a college course is horrible. Or a college class, because come on now, let's have better safety.
Pranking, getting fired at Target. Jidion decided to turn down that whole lifestyle and turn to a...
am I looking at? Hold on, is he in a restaurant cooking? There's what? I was gonna say, is this not allowed? But of course it's not
A
allowed.
Christian route. He wanted to ditch the prankster content and pick up
But
a
it
Bible.
actually is
And I'm
kind
not
of funny because it doesn't look like nobody's stopping him. She literally walked past him.
questioning that pathway that he went down. I think it's actually very admirable that he decided to put that lifestyle away. But ultimately, maybe it was due to chat. Maybe it was because there was this good thing in catching these people that text underage people that he thought was going to.
I remember watching this video, bro. I forgot what the context of this one actually was, but I know I did watch this one. This taco has low-key kind of, or no, maybe it was the dude made, I forgot, but this is definitely
Be good for him. The extreme content ultimately crept back into his life. Instead of messing with strangers, he decided that he was going to expose these people who are doing these heinous acts. And again, while that is admirable, there's still an element of confrontation, conflict, and other things that still calls for a push to be had. But ultimately, in the lane of the pred catching field, there are some levels of danger that are involved in it that I don't think Jidion or these other people really realize. You see, a prank video can get Jidion kicked out of a grocery store or, you know, a public facility or whatever the case may be. But a pred catch can involve way too many people on serious things and serious allegations. And if fumbled and not done properly, you can ultimately end up in a situation where you've done.
If it's not done properly, not only could you get messed up from it, but the person you're catching is walking free with nothing.
Done all this work, maybe you've got the public embarrassment of it all, but ultimately you just have one more pred walking the streets, not necessarily facing the justice that they should be facing. So when Kayla's allegations came out right after Jidion himself admitted that content can make him push situations further, people started connecting the dots. The content changed, the intentions of it all changed, but people are really questioning whether Jidion's instincts to push the content further ever did change. And that's why Jidion can have a reasonable response.
When it comes to Jidion and content, and when it comes to pushing the content forward, I think he's definitely changed how he's going about it for sure. But in like the ways he's done it, he's gotten more legal with it in ways where he's getting more catches when it's just not the police just, you know, refusing to take them in. But he does get catches. He doesn't do really the pranking thing too much. He does trolling. He does trolls still because that's what they do. But I mean, in terms of like going to the extreme just to get the content, he does not do anymore. You know, I can give him that. I can respect that.
To the things that he was involved in with the documentary, and people still not want him back. For what it's worth, Judion's response to the whole situation does clear up a lot of different things. He said that he would take over communication. He said that he didn't push her to the point of, you know, being the decoy. He didn't place this 15-year-old in front of EDP as a means to like use her as some sort of bait. And for what it's worth, I think that that context matters and it should be spoken about. So this isn't about saying Jidion secretly never changed or that his intentions with EDP were evil. That's not why people are turning on him. They're seeing a pattern. Jidion became famous by pushing situations further for content. He eventually tried leaving.
And then now it's like, okay, so now I know what he's about to say. So basically now he's pivoting to something else, which is like, you know, the brick edges and stuff. But it's like basically his past trailed some baggage with it in his new content style. Like I definitely feel that. I understand.
Leaving that behind through Christianity, then pred catching gave him a reason to make extreme content again. And now we're seeing what happens when the same instincts exist in situations where the consequences are much, much more serious. Skeeter Jean can admit how the content of it all affected their confrontation and approach to EDP. Hell, Jidion wore a full-on cupcake outfit for the confrontation. If that's not screaming content, then I don't know what is. The 15-year-old decoy.
That one's definitely content. That I can't argue. Even if you did do that now, bro, you're doing this for straight content, bro.
Boy, Kayla felt as if she was used by the whole process. And just weeks before the whole document,
brought like a batch of cupcakes, like an actual thing of cupcakes instead of having to dress up. The dress up part is actually so extra.
Release, Jidion admitted that entertaining an audience, reading that chat can get him to do things that he.
Okay, he's just gonna basically rehearse everything else. But yeah, that man is bad. Oh, hold on, I just read that. Julian Newman is making his sister leak about him. Oh, that's a good video. That actually is a good video to watch because I did just see him on TikTok live talking about that. So yeah, we're gonna get to that. But until next time, because you know I'm trying to get back into the flow of things. Life has been lifing recently. So make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, and you know I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.